This episode was recorded and produced on Lishan Ohlone land. We give our great respect to the indigenous peoples of this land and the surrounding areas, and to the indigenous peoples of all the lands that you are joining us from. To learn more about how you can support Lishan Ohlone land reclamation, please read the information in our video description below. Content notices for this episode include strong language, potential references to off-screen cruelty to an awakened animal as part of character backstory, light to moderate combat violence, including violence toward an awakened animal as part of combat. Well, hello everyone. Welcome back
Hi.
to Chromythica.
Hi!
We're going to start by briefly introducing ourselves. I'm Esther. I use she and they pronouns, and I am the GM of this game.
I'm Justin. I use he, him pronouns, and I am playing our dog barbarian Ember.
Hi, I'm David. I use he, him, and I play Oom and Nami. So Oom uses any combination of she, her, they, theirs, he, him, and Nami uses he, him.
I'm Alex. I use he, him, or they, them pronouns, and I'm playing Professor Z, who uses he, him pronouns.
I'm Firuz. I use she and they pronouns. I'm playing Temerity Vane, our rogue, who uses he and him pronouns.
Beautiful. Thanks, y'all. So we have a tradition of asking a warm-up question to get into character, and today's warm-up question is brought to us by Justin. Thank you very much. And it is, what is your character's star sign in their cultural system for whatever kind of zodiac they may have? Please describe its virtues and its vices.
I can go first since I, posed the question. So Ember's zodiac sign in gnome culture is the lantern. Ordinarily, I would answer this in character voice, but Ember has no idea what zodiac signs are. So I would say, so the lantern is this constellation, reaches its zenith in midwinter and serves as a beacon of becoming warmth and spring. People born under this sign tend to be cheery and persistent, always seeking the best in others, but because of this, they are easily tempted and deceived, not always seeing the dangers that lurk in the shadows.
Who's next? Who's next? Give me more.
I guess if we're using the same order, I can go next. So for me, because Hermea is a blend of different cultures and beliefs, my Auntie Nia taught me two different zodiacs. So for the Cosmic Caravan, I learned that because I was born on the 10th of Desnus, it places me under the sign of the daughter, sort of near the cusp of where the daughter meets the rider. For this, Auntie Nia had said that at her best, the daughter can dance into springtime and cross difficult bridges singing the Song of the Stars. And at her worst, the daughter's a lonely wanderer who dances to her own tune unable to form meaningful bonds with others. The other zodiac that Antonia taught me is the variant of the Draconic Zodiac. So for the Draconic Zodiac, Antonia told me that I was born during a lunar eclipse. Because of that, that fell under the Draconic sign of the Sovereign. Antonia had mentioned that the idea of the Sovereign is sort of often misunderstood because a lot of people think it means the strongest, but in reality, the idea of the word sovereign comes from two different Draconic words for leadership. One comes from the Draconic word for the physical power or might of things and the strength to really enact change, while the other comes from the Draconic word for authority more as an emotional type of charisma, sort of an influential being that inspires others to change for themselves. And so from these two concepts, Antonia said that at their best, the Sovereign is this beacon of benevolence, a guardian that sort of brings change and progress to the whole community so that everyone can move forward together. And at the Sovereign's worst, the Sovereign is a tyrant who tries to force their beliefs on others. And so I think both of those together create sort of combined traits where, at the positives, we're sort of seeing inner strength and confidence, and at its worst, we're really seeing stubbornness and pride.
I can definitely not compete with that at all. So Professor Z's zodiacal sign and sort of animal would be something of a goat with a strong-headed and curious personality and always wanting to sort of climb to the top of things and look around. Those are the sort of both the positive and the negative traits that I would bring out from Professor Z's zodiac sign, but it's a pretty simple background. So I can't compete with David there.
I also went with 2 because Temerity is both a tiefling and an elf. Elves use an intricate system that takes into account not just celestial bodies, but also meteorological conditions and phenomena. By elven reckoning, Temerity was born under the sign of the wandering seed. The elvish word that's actually used refers specifically to the kind of seed that spreads by wind dispersal. People born under this sign are said to be inquisitive and curious, quick-witted, and light-footed. The wandering seed carries with it a wealth of information and a deep connection to the tree from which it grew, but can struggle to root itself anywhere. Wandering seeds are cautioned against their own inclination to live forever amongst the breeze and never take root. Tiefling signs are determined by circumstances, which means that your sign can change many times over the course of your life. Temerity's current sign is the vexing hallucination, the tittling nightmare. Vexes are the danger that appears with a smile, or the good fortune that arrives amid bad conditions. Occasionally referred to in common as the blade and spade because its artwork and vision decks is often associated with assassins and farmers, the vexing hallucination, the titillating nightmare, is an omen. Whether it is one of good or ill is like the tiefling zodiac, all a matter of circumstance.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I love them all, and I'm excited to weave them in as we go along. And so, without further ado, let's remember what happened last time we gathered and where you all were, what you were up to. You had dinner at Professor Z's home after a bit of debate over where you might acquire evening meal, and you learned many things about Buster and the circumstances under which Buster is usually exploded, and about architecture and Brasselwork, how gnomes in Brasselwork really love the idea of rebirth of whole neighborhoods sometimes, but only after 10 or 15 years when folks have really had a chance to live there and are then ready for something new. You decided then that you would have a group evening adventure into the foothills north of the city to learn more about the secret observatory being constructed by the gnome King Drum Thornfiddle of Brasselwark in association with House Thrune, the ruling family of Cheliax, the country where Brasselwark is located. You encountered on the road ahead of you a couple of folks who had a cart which was pulled by goats and contained various metal instruments. You assume they are for the probable telescopes being constructed in this observatory. After a little bit of a rough start talking to them, you did manage to charm one of them into telling you about their frustrations with the role of contractor producing equipment for this observatory, how they don't feel their role is properly acknowledged, and it's been a frustrating set of circumstances, it seems. While Ember distracted the other individual, someone named Elfric, by stealing a small metal instrument from the cart, burying it, and then running up the road. Ember, you ran up the path and sensed two large metal figures in the moonlight, with a third metal figure a little ways off from and behind them. You then rejoined the party, and after you all took your leave of this place, declared that you had found the observatory and that the metal people were guarding it, I believe. You as a party decided to go back to Brasselwark to spend the night, and Ember and Professor Z, I think you headed to Professor Z's home, and Oom and Temerity, you headed back to the Lilyfrost Inn and Tavern, where you bumped into Miv, your gnome acquaintance, who is just finishing up their Mountain Dulcimer performance for the evening. It turns out Miv is also curious about the observatory and had a run-in with the large metal figures there and was told by some folks who came down to meet them to please vacate the premises of the road up. And Miv offered to join you if you want to check out the observatory, and I think you've accepted them on this offer. So after a solid night's rest, you will wake up on Fire Day, which is the equivalent of Friday in this universe, and perhaps head into the foothills once more to see how far you get figuring out the road to this observatory. What would you like to do on waking?
We came to the conclusion that daylight would be safer because they do all of their work at night, right?
Yeah, I think that is the conclusion you came to with the information you got.
Okay, all right. We didn't talk yesterday about reconvening, did we? Like how we were going to do that?
We just meet back at the bakery. I assume we're going to the bakery again. So
Yeah, that's what happened last time. So.
That seems like the right choice. So I presume that Oom and I will, and Nami of course, probably head that way once we wake up in the morning, perform whatever ablutions are necessary, etc.
That sounds good. Do we think we're also going to find our possible co-conspirator?
Oh, okay. Well, I guess the question is, should we put it to the other people, or should we just bring them with us and be like, hey, we got someone else?
Ember likes friends. I think he'd be fine.
I mean, I think we'd be fine if we trust him. I think part of it is basically because we were told to keep this a secret, right? Or keep this on the down low. As long as we feel we can trust this person, I'm okay with it too. Yeah.
Is Miv staying at this place too?
Yes, Miv is staying at the inn.
So presumably it'll be easy to collect them and be on our way.
Yes.
All right, shall we do that?
Sounds good to me.
Great.
Fabulous. You will find them downstairs, having finished what seems to be a rather hearty breakfast. They will have the dulcimer with them, kind of like strapped alongside their body. You know, it seems like maybe they're used to carrying it. And they will also have some weapons attached. They are going to be carrying a crossbow and a rapier.
Okay, here's what I would like to know. Do we get bard vibes? Or, like, what I want to know is what their class is, but I'm not sure how you would like me to phrase that for Temerities.
It is extremely reasonable.
What kind of skill set does this person appear to have based on Temerity's experience in life. Did I do it? I nailed it, didn't I?
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Given that you've seen them perform multiple times and they seem to be carting this dulcimer around, they definitely give you like performer vibes. They give you bard vibes, yeah.
All right.
Little reminder of Miv's appearance. They have fuchsia hair and deep brown eyes, and they are dressed in these like little bit worn but extremely colorful traveler's clothes. And their dulcimer is like a very prominent part of their accoutrement. They're finishing up their breakfast, and they're kind of like shove one forkful in their mouth and like chew it up and say, "Hi, morning."
Good morning. How are you?
Well, I'm doing pretty well, thanks for asking. How are you this morning?
Very well. We are going to meet our friends to go on our little mission today, if you'd like to join us.
Absolutely. I'd love to. I'm curious about what's going on up there in them hills.
There's something in them there hills.
Just like our audience to know, I really channeled my grandmother. Like not in her everyday speech, but in her most I am from Appalachia moments.
It was beautiful.
Thank you. Miv will look to Oom and Nami and say, "Morning. How are y'all today?"
Doing great. How about you?
I'm excited to see what we're gonna find, and real interested to learn more about you folks. I'm happy we met.
Us too.
We're still learning about each other at this point, really.
Oh, you're newly acquainted. Well, it's always a treasure to meet some folks that you seem to be thrown together by fate with. I've had that happen a few times in my life, and I just real happy to see what may be the beginning of a beautiful friendship here.
It very well may be.
Do you mind if I play a little music for the road? Nothing like some dulcimer tunes as you walk around in the morning.
Yeah, that'd be lovely.
Temerity is clearly delighted by this.
This is a slightly modified instrument where like they're going to be able to play it while walking. It's a really like gnomish looking construction. It's like half, I don't even know how, lute, maybe half mountain dulcimer, and there's this like thick leather strap that sort of holds it to them, but part of it's like flat in front of them. It's fascinating. Let your imaginations go absolutely delightful directions with what this thing may look like. So they will start walking and strumming this dulcimer and singing a beautiful tune of morning in the mountains when the sun is shining bright on green leaves and new growth is springing up.
That's beautiful.
If the tune's familiar, Oom will definitely hum along, I'm sure.
Ooh, I'll leave that to you. If you would like it to be familiar, yeah, that's
We'll
lovely.
try to hum along to the tune.
Beautiful. They'll harmonize with you. Sound beautiful, like gorgeous singing voice. Ember and Professor Z, what are y'all up to?
Ember will stretch and yawn outside of Professor Z's abode, wait patiently at the door.
Professor Z will probably get up and go about whatever his normal, maybe not very usual morning routine is. Some clanging as he sort of starts up Buster.
Yeah, there's a couple like, loud clanks as Buster crackles to life. I'm imagining like steam coming out of Buster, like a couple little toots of steam, and then he's able to begin moving himself.
Yeah, I feel like you have to kind of fire up Buster in the morning. Like Buster's something like a wood pellet fired stove turned off, and you get him going, and then steam starts coming out, creaky movement, and things go from there.
Cool. Well, your morning routines will unfold without too much event. And so you all are headed to Professor Z's house. Is that right? Okay. You can arrive there and meet up as a group.
That sounds great. As we walk up, I'm going to be just kind of trying to slowly get to know a little better. But like not pressing if they're evasive about any questions, but just kind of being like, so where are you from? What are you into? Kind of trying to figure out how old they are without outright asking. So what have you been doing for the last however many years, et cetera,
Just hopping around the place. I'm just from a small island, a bit far from here. Just really been trying to learn more about different things. That's pretty much it, really.
I'm not from an island, but that's pretty much it for me too.
Have you been to many interesting places?
Well, I've been around for a little while. I know I'm very young and handsome looking, of course, but yeah, I've been to quite a few places. I come from quite a few places, I feel like. So I've spent a lot of time around the elves. That's where I came from. But when you have a long time, you have many places to go. So I just kind of pop through and find an adventure. Sometimes I spend a year teaching kindergarten. Wait, what do we call kindergarten in a world where there's no German?
It's the closest approximation that we have in our language is kindergarten.
Great. Love it. Kindergarten is a common word. Love it.
You can always just say it's very Tolkien-y in the way that it, we're speaking in a language that's not the actual language yeah.
Exactly.
That's true. Teach children, work in a bakery, just kind of go anywhere. That's how I got here.
What do you mean by a long time? I mean, because, yeah, you are very young and handsome looking. How long is long?
About 200 years. How about you?
It's only about a little over 20 for me.
Information filed away, having been very curious and unable to tell how old any gnomes are, except for the really old ones, and then be like, those are sort of, probably old. Who knows? But gnomes have a long lifespan, like elves, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, that's very exciting. You have so much to see and so much to do.
Yeah, I really just can't wait to see everything and learn more about all that life has to offer.
It's nothing but an open road in front of us.
Miv is going to pause their playing for a moment and be like, no, I have to ask you both. For two people who have wandered around and gone here and there, what's your top 2 places you've been? Top 2 places in the world. Or 3, if you want.
Damn, I don't know if I know enough about the world to actually choose that on Temerity's behalf, but let me think. DM, what do you think are some of the more interesting things in this world that somebody who's been alive for 200 years might have seen? Other than the places that they're from, and obviously. Oh, and somebody who's probably been tomb raiding with his mom and shit.
Yeah, I would actually say you probably think Selwynvian, the city in Miarani Forest, is intense, but interesting. Definitely interesting. You might have seen some really interesting ruins, on various islands in one of the western oceans, if you had been there. I'm guessing you may have been to Kintargo in Ravenel, which used to be Cheliax, and you would probably really like that city. It's the one that's all about art and counterculture, and theater that's got subversive themes.
I just got very distracted. Did you say used to be Cheliax? Is that not a thing anymore?
It broke away.
It broke away, yeah.
Oh, okay. So it used to be. Okay, I thought you meant like Cheliax.
Used to be in
Cheliax.
Cheliax.
I was
yeah.
like, did I miss a memo?
No, there was a rebellion.
Okay. To answer that question, I think I'm not going to actually answer the question. And instead, I will tell a pretty rambling tale of, like some of the different like ruins that I've been to, and just like really wax poetic about, I will say that like one of my favorite places, or some of my favorite places, are the woods that my mama's came from.
Do you drop your mama's names?
That's certainly an interesting question. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to see what happens.
The GM doesn't remember if this came up before, but we're going with it now. Both of their names.
I will... Yeah, sure.
Well, Miv will kind of stop and say, now hold on a second. Hold on a minute here. You mean to tell me Awakened Vane is your mama?
I certainly do. Are you acquainted with her?
Well, I wouldn't say we're acquainted, but, I mean, she's mighty well known in adventuring circles. She is one hell of a lady, if you don't mind my saying so. I mean, with all due respect, that I mean it as a compliment. But, my goodness, I had no idea.
Sorry, I don't know much about adventuring circles. Who is Awakened Vane?
Well, you see, my mother is an expert in the reclamation of ancient elven cultural artifacts.
Yeah, she goes around stealing shit from everybody. I mean, it's really remarkable. She's famous for cultural reclamation and famous for reclamation in general. It's really remarkable. I mean, all of these places where ancient treasures are buried, she has pulled off some phenomenal heists. I mean, we are in the presence of the spawn of royalty in some ways, in the circles I run in. My goodness.
It's a great pleasure for my mother's accomplishments to be so respected. I can only hope to one day have her skill.
Is it true what she did in Selwynvin? I mean, taking it on all alone without telling anybody?
Well, you see, there were complicating factors and extenuating circumstances. And how long ago was this?
10 to 20 years ago.
Okay, so, all right. And, sometimes she's maybe not always the best at listening to her wife's advice.
Well, please give her my heartfelt admiration. I mean, goodness. Well, you and I, we should talk more, Temerity. There are stories I would love to hear.
It seems to me like you probably have many stories of your own.
Oh, shucks. Well, I got a few. I could tell you sometime, but I gotta ask Oom. You've been around various places in just a little over 20 years. What's your favorite place you've been?
Oh gosh, it's hard for me to say really, because I guess for me it's more the people you meet rather than the places you go to. Part of the reason why we got to meet each other was because of Ember. Ember's former companion, Oriana. In my mind, the things that are most memorable, just the people.
And you say you're from an island?
Yes.
Might I ask which one?
Hermea.
Well, ain't that interesting? You don't meet somebody from Hermea every day, especially not just wandering out in the world. What brings you out?
I really just wanted to see more of everything. It was my chance to learn for myself what the world has to offer.
I wish you much learning of the best kind in this journey you're on. Just strum us another little song. Yes.
What's Hermia?
Oh, okay. I think this would be society. A society check.
Secret?
If you would like it to be, but it doesn't need to be.
Okay, well, I do like to see when I can. Society.
Ooh, yes. Okay. So you have heard of Hermea. Actually, you've probably been closer to it. I mean, you've definitely been closer to it than you are now, but like fairly close as the world goes. It's like in the ocean a little ways from Ravenel and from like the Varisian coast. I wouldn't say it's near where you've spent a lot of time, but you definitely would know what it is. And you would know that it is an island that is founded by the gold dragon named Mankare, and he has the goal of building a rather utopian society where everybody really cares for each other and brings the best elements of themselves and their cultures to build a society where everybody belongs and everybody has value. And it is a community where you don't have to be born there to be a part of it. You can join, but the joining process is rather rigorous, and you must live there for a while and kind of prove that you really have a commitment to belonging in order to be accepted as a permanent member of the community. It's kind of rare that anybody leaves Hermea once they go.
Because it's so great.
Because it's so great.
But it makes sense that a super curious person would leave. Like, it's not like weird or suspicious. It's just
it is a little weird. It is weird, a little weird, but it's not suspicious, I would say. Okay. You can imagine that someone might realize that their highest potential is their curiosity and their desire to learn about the world, and then the society might be thrilled for them to go out and reach that highest potential and then come back one day and share what they've learned.
That is so nice. All right. Interesting information filed away.
Miv begins to sing a song about a wanderer who comes from humble roots and makes their way in the world through having adventures and finding unexpected treasures in deep caverns.
Mm-hmm. How interesting. How far are we from the bakery?
The bakery? You'll probably pass it on the way to Professor Z's house, or it's pretty close.
I thought we were meeting at the bakery. Are we meeting at the house?
Oh, you can meet at the bakery. Either way is fine by me.
Everybody?
I mean, Professor Z's fairly predictable. I figured we could find him at the bakery, or if not, we can continue to his house.
He's off to the bakery.
Cool.
Beautiful. By the time this song ends, you'll reach the bakery.
I'm super curious about what my mom did 10 or 15 years ago, but should we ask about that later? I mean, I would love for you to tell me, unless it'll derail us.
Do you want me, the GM, to tell you, the person who plays Temerity, or do you want to ask Miv?
No, I would like you, the GM, to tell the person who plays Temerity, but then maybe I'll ask Miv what they think happened.
Okay. About 15 years ago, your mother went into the long-contested ancient ruined city of Selwynvian alone to reclaim a powerful artifact, or 2, or 5. And you are well aware that this is a contested site among the elves of the forest and your long-sundered kindred who live underground mostly. It's a little bit of a tense Cold War zone in a lot of ways, and sometimes violence breaks out and sometimes there's an abatement, but your long-sundered kindred holds the city, and it's a really big deal to go in there, like, at all, and hardly anybody would ever think of doing so alone, to steal something. And your mother was extremely successful and came out of there with several very valuable old elven artifacts of some beautiful aesthetic quality and perhaps magical power. and was then kindly disinvited from being in the area of the Mere Uni Forest for some time.
Sometime in Elven reckoning is probably a really fucking long time.
Mm-hmm.
That's we better not see your ass for 300 years at minimum, right?
Maybe, please don't come back.
Why did she do it alone? Because it's dangerous?
From my perspective on your mother, it's dangerous, and also she loves being a badass. And she did it because she thought she could. Kind of like a chat, like, can I do this? Yes, I do believe I can, and I'll prove it to myself and the world.
I love it. Great. Okay. So I'm just gonna ask before we go in.
Okay.
Miv, just out of curiosity, what version of the story did you hear about what she did in the Savonian forest?
Well, your mama decided that it was high time she get some of your half of whatever's going on in that whole situation back to Keonan. She just upped and strapped all her gear to herself and headed on in there. Yeah, I just heard she come out of there with like 5 or 6 different things, and it caused a little bit of a stir afterwards. Maybe it's still causing a little bit of a stir, but I mean, she's legendary for doing it. I mean, absolutely legendary.
How does she decide what is reclaiming versus stealing?
Esther, do you have any perspective on that?
I was gonna say, Miv would say, I reckon her child would know better than I do.
As the GM, what do you think your perspective is?
She has a loose metric.
Okay.
Reclaiming would definitely be if it is an elven artifact and it's in some ruins that are largely inaccessible or held by non-elves, then that's reclaiming. If it's like in a human museum somewhere and they won't give it back, or like some rich non-elves hoard, like a dragon's hoard, or just like a rich person's, then that's reclaiming. And maybe you reclaim some other things along the way.
David, what exactly was the phrasing of your question, please, if you remember?
Oh, how do you know when it's reclaiming and when it's stealing?
Well, I will admit to you, before anyone else, that they're very loose guidelines, if you want to call them that. But I think in general, the difference between reclaiming and stealing is that reclaiming is something you do for the people, and stealing is something you do for yourself.
What does she do then for the people when she reclaims these objects?
Esther, presumably she's not hoarding them for herself. Like, she is reclaiming them for the people, right?
Yeah, she absolutely does, like, bring them to various elven institutions, or, like, I mean, maybe occasionally one gets, like, dropped off in a public park somewhere.
So, like, cross between, like, Robin Hood and, like, Tomb Raider.
Yeah. She will bring them back, like, if scholars wish they could study a certain piece, but it's been lost for so long, and she finds it or reclaims it, she'll bring it to them. But yeah, so a cross between Tomb Raider and Robin Hood is a good way to put it.
That's perfect, yes. She cares for the culture and the people, but she also cares for the shinies.
Yes.
That explains.
Got it. Is Temerity gonna explain that, or?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Oh, I don't want to give you the impression that I think she's some sort of saint. She's much more interesting than that. So yes, she takes things that scholars are looking for or that have been lost to our people, but sometimes she takes things because she likes them.
That makes sense. I mean, don't expect anyone to be a saint. Truth is always somewhere in between.
It is. You're right.
Miv is now standing in line at the bakery and will wave to Professor Z and Ember and say, well, hi, y'all.
Good morning. Didn't we meet you at the restaurant the other day?
You surely did. You're Z, aren't you? Professor Z.
Indeed, I am Professor Z.
And you're Ember.
Hello, friend gnome.
Hello, friend Ember. It is mighty nice to see you again. Now, I have been learning all sorts of interesting things about these folks.
I will go for pets.
Oh, Miv will enthusiastically give you pets, like just happy scratches behind the ears, a tummy rub if you want one,
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I'll go ahead and, not in a loud voice, kind of lean in or get closer or whatever to Z and tell him it appears that Miv is also curious about what we're curious about. And it seemed like maybe we could use a little bit of help, an extra hand.
Well, I wouldn't say it went well last night. So yeah, we could use some help.
I agree. It could have gone worse, but it could have gone much, much, much better.
We need to deal with the bad clankers.
I just feel like there's something going on there.
Now, do y'all have a plan for dealing with the bad clankers, as Ember calls them?
Well,
I set bad people on fire.
My thought is, it might be a little difficult to set them on fire. You might need a really hot fire, a lot of it.
Well, I think that maybe our plan was to have breakfast and discuss it. Obviously, you've already had breakfast, but if you're still hungry, have some more.
Oh, absolutely. This place smells amazing. I think I dropped by here the other day. I'm excited to have more.
So I would say let's try to take a table that, if possible, is somewhat, separated from other people.
There was a second level, right?
There's a second level, and you can get up to the second level either by the lift or by the stairs. You can put in your order first, and they'll have it lifted up to you.
Love the note of it having a lift. Appreciate that. Yeah, so let's go and do that and actually figure out what we're going to do. Or are you guys just trying to fly by the seat of our pants and see what happens?
I'm a barbarian.
Yeah.
Plans are not my thing.
Not so much for you.
I will rage, and then whatever happens, happens.
I trust our dog with all my heart. If fire is the solution, then let's use fire.
I actually can't use fire in a rage. I will have to attack, but
Planning was not a requirement for my academic position, as it's not a requirement for most faculty members.
Is it possible? Do we think we could avoid them and just get past them?
I was just going to walk right up to them.
We've already had this conversation, Alex.
I will say, you feel like you would have to do a lot of trekking through the backwoods and actually climbing up a small mountain to get there by an alternate route. The easiest way is the road, and it's steep with switchbacks, so if you're not going straight up it, you're gonna have to be climbing up a wall, going across the little road,
Okay.
climbing up another one. So the simplest way is on the road.
My suggestion then is going to be that this is basically on a cliff's edge, this path that we would be fighting these things on. More or less,
a
no?
cliff's edge is a little strong. Have you hiked in not to the level of a proper mountain, but what I would call a foothill, lower hills where there's a trail, sometimes paved, sometimes not, but it'll go up one side of the mountain, and so it'll start and it'll wind its way up, and it's not a sheer cliff, but if you're gonna try to get to one level to another, it is a drop, a grade with a lot of trees and bushes on it to get down to the next level.
But hypothetically, if you were, say, very heavy and made of a strong metal, for example, like a buster or perhaps these creatures, that, say, falling down one of these things would be unpleasant.
Yeah, probably.
Cool. I have athletics. That is my plan. I think perhaps instead of just fighting these things head on, because, as a dog, my capacity to bite through construct is a little bit limited. Perhaps maybe push off edge would be easier as a plan.
I'm over here wait, let me check my acrobatics. Let me check my athletics. What's my strength?
I'm not gonna suggest or anything, but I do have Featherfall.
Good to know.
Update. My strength
Solid
modifier
spell.
is 0. Just so you know. let's rehash what we know.
Mm-hmm.
We know that there's some weird shit going on with the king. We know that the king is the one. Do we know that the king is the one who has arranged the ongoing building of this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we know that.
Okay.
Do we get the feeling that the king is like a bad dude because of their deal with Her Magistrix, or is it more of just like a contractual bargain?
I don't know, it feels to me that like any particular deal made with, Her Magistrix, bringer of hell to Cheliax, not quite, but who consorts with devils is at most neutral.
At best.
To be fair though, right, like demonic contracts are legally binding and enforceable, so there's predictability and trust. I'm not going to say this is Oom, obviously, but there's predictability and trust, to this.
So far, I would say at best our king is morally dubious.
Well, that's just being a king.
Yeah, it's morally dubious, but
it's
predictable and
anti-imperialism hours
yeah.
on Chromythica, y'all. But okay, so we have no reason to believe that this is not a sinister affair. We have no reason to believe. Okay. So my next question, Esther, is it's generally known that he struck some sort of deal with her. Is he known for any sort of heroics or magical ability or like being really smart or capable? Like, is there anything that one could connect the dots to and be like, well, maybe he was able to strike this deal because of something awesome that he did in battle, or because of an incredible creation, like thing that he invented that helped her in some way? Like, are there any strings, or is it just question mark?
Are you asking me if Temerity would know this?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, I wanna know if it's the case, but as far as anything that Temerity has heard, / if Temerity polls the group, because we've obviously talked about all of this before.
Yeah, I guess to add to that, I was kind of wondering from a diplomatic standpoint, is there any, from ruler to ruler, knowledge of like what like Mankare feels about the King Thornfiddle or anything? If there was ever anything like
that's the dragon that's in charge that created your island?
Yes. Okay.
I didn't get the name last time when I was writing notes. Sorry, go ahead.
So those would be society roles from each of you. I will say I think Professor Z might have some insight into this. If you would like to ask Professor Z, and then I can tell you if the roles bolster that.
Okay, then I will do that. Well, let me ask one more question before I go back into character. How long has Brasselwark been a thing?
About 60 years.
Okay, cool. Z, my knowledge of local history is very thin, so if you could maybe supplement, that would be very helpful. Do we have any information about, are there any kind of strings or clues that tell us what he could have done to earn this honor from Her Magistrix? Is he an accomplished warrior? Is he an inventor? Does he have very strong magic? Is it possible that he has entered into an infernal contract? Do you have any information for us?
I'm sure I have some context, but
Do you need a reminder?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, or like how far I should go, but yes, I do need a reminder.
I think you would know him to be a strong business person. Like, one of his real strengths is pitching ideas and having the charisma and the quality that people really believe in his ideas and want to follow him. I would say that he is more of an architect and designer than he is like a tinkerer inventor, but he's had massive influence in like the infrastructure, the beginning infrastructure of Brasselwark, and often will be involved in like supervising some of the new construction, like the big projects, the wizards' towers, the libraries and centers of learning. And he is really skilled at persuading folks to invest in the venture that is Brasselwark. As Alex and I have discussed, he gives off like inspirational tech CEO funded by venture capitalist vibes.
Basically, he's Elon Musk, but in gnome world.
I wouldn't say he's Elon. Let's not invoke that name and bring that part of the internet down on the show. But I wouldn't say he's Elon, but yeah, he gives off the
Just
vibes.
say we were on anti-imperialism hours, Alex.
I mean, he's more likable. But yeah, his strength is in selling ideas and getting people to believe them wholeheartedly. He has never come across as a particularly sinister figure. I wouldn't say he's out there telling his life story every day in the newspapers, but he's never come across as like big evil vibes. If Oom and Temerity want to recollect things, roll society.
Can I hit up a society roll just in case?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you are really not too sure about this. Yeah, you don't know a lot about him.
Ooh, I'm suspicious. But also, why would I know about him? But I'm suspicious.
But if Professor Z shares all of this, like basically the refresher I just gave, you have no reason to believe that he's especially sinister.
Yeah.
And I want to be clear too, like Professor Z would be like kind of bought into his, like a little bit, maybe not the whole way, but like definitely on board with. Professor Z believes in at least the project of Brasselwark, and so had to have bought into the king's vision at some level.
Can I ask, and obviously you don't have to tell me because this is an out of character question to you out of character. Is Professor Z, you said that he's bought in. Is he passionate about what they're doing here? Like he thinks this is super important and is the place to be, or?
He's on a journey with respect to that. I think if you were to meet Professor Z before any of this starts, he would definitely be really passionate about it. The more that there's like mystery, the more that he is not leading some grand academic institution and having fame and fortune, the like less it's eroding, but maybe not in a way that he admits, right? But it's definitely like meeting Chauncey. That's another eroding Professor Z's sort of faith in this system.
Okay. Thank you for that insight. I appreciate you answering the question.
I think if we want to know more, we're going to have to do some investigating.
With that role, you remember discussing Cheliax in some amount of depth with Mankare. It seemed likely that you might need to go through the Infernal Nation at some point. And perhaps the city of Brasselwark came up once. It would have interested Mankare as the largest city of gnomes in Galarian, and he might have remarked that King Drumthornfiddle seems an enterprising person, but that there was nothing terribly special that... No. Mankare would have remarked that King Drumthornfiddle is an enterprising person who might do well to curb his bolder instincts, and he would have left it at that. There would have been no mention of, like, an infernal contract, no rumors like that. But he might do well to curb his bolder instincts, lest they catch up with him one day.
Does share that with the class?
Before I decide that, do I get the impression that Mankara would be fine with me talking with King Drumthornfiddle? Would there be any hesitation with him as a leader?
No hesitation, like, don't go near this person, don't go to Brasselwark. Just an enterprising individual who is interesting. Should be careful of his bolder instincts lest they one day catch up to him.
Okay, I will share that then.
Well, I think that's probably good advice for all of us, but this is very interesting. I think I'm going to write a letter to the mums and see if they have any information or maybe any, back channels that they can refer to. Because this seems to me like we're not going to find out everything even if we go there. This seems very intricate and like a big mystery. I'm kind of excited.
Esther, you've said you've interacted with King Thornfiddle. Is there a way to get an audience to talk? I mean, if he's an enterprising person, maybe we could try to get access the normal way if we don't think it's sinister.
I mean, so I think Professor Z would be on board with trying to get access. I mean, Professor Z this whole time has suggested, we can just walk up and see what's going on. So he would probably bring that back up at this point. Kind of remembering that, Temerity was not into this idea yesterday. But Professor Z would probably be like, I would just try to go back again. If you discuss what you're going to do about the Clankers, it really would be like, yeah, I'll just go walk up. I'm an academic. I want to check it out.
Yeah, I think Oom should just walk up, but walk way up. It would be normal for Oom to just talk to the leader. So that's what I'm asking. Can we just? Is there a way for you, Professor, to
get an audience with the king? I suspect there is, but I suspect that would take a lot of convincing of somebody. I don't know, GM. How would I go about getting an audience with the king?
Well, you are quite aware that he likes to he freely grants audiences at the rumor of someone with great wealth who might be interested in funding a project. So you could find a rich person and ask them if they'll help you get an audience with King Thornfiddle. You could have a research breakthrough of some kind or come to him with very important information, or you could show up at one of his public engagements, of which they can be a little chaotic in the gnome way of scheduling some things and leaving some things to the moment. Or you could just walk up and knock on the palace doors. It's not like people get arrested for that. You might get told he's not home and laughed at, but you could certainly try it.
So I think I would probably suggest the most likely way we would find him would be to try and bump into him at a public engagement. But, we could always just go try to get an audience with him at the palace.
Okay, Temerity, as a person who sticks out in every crowd and cannot be subtle and unseen in this city at all, in any way, is going to ask, well, are there... Oh! Never mind! I don't have to ask if there are public engagements happening, because I know that the Festival of Flight is soon, right?
Mm-hmm. I will say you would also remember... You do know someone who recently had an audience with the king.
Who?
Runs this very
The
bakery
baker.
that you are eating in
baker,
right now.
Oh, duh! Okay.
Tavi.
How soon is the Festival of Flight?
I think it's in about 10 days or so at this point. 9-10 days.
Okay. So we can talk to Tavi and see if there's more information to be had. And as we all know, the festival is in a little more than a week, I believe. So we will have the opportunity to observe him, presumably, and maybe to talk to him. Here is what I think. It is entirely possible that there's nothing sinister going on. However, if there is something sinister going on, we should not make ourselves super, super obvious and gesticulating at all of this. I am very, very obvious. So we should plan accordingly. If there are sinister things afoot, and we have to reveal ourselves, then so be it. But until that moment, maybe let's operate with a little bit of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Discretion.
Discretion, thank you.
To me as an academic of Brasselwark, everybody at Brasselwark is always asking about the latest research and trying to learn about it from others. So it doesn't seem out of the ordinary to me that we would want to learn about the latest goings on here. That's, the very spirit of the city.
That's certainly true, but because of that spirit of the city, don't you think it seems a little bit suspicious that every time you ask something related to this, people get very squirrely and start to be like, oh, we can't talk about this. Oh, this is a secret. How long has that observatory been being built? It seems like it's rather advanced in age. It's not brand new, right? So why the secrets? Why the secrets for a culture that is so invested in sharing information? That's what makes it suspicious, and that's what makes me think that maybe this is your home and you should operate with care lest you bring danger upon yourself.
Well, I definitely don't want more danger or too much excitement. It was a lot yesterday. It didn't exactly go so well. I don't want to bring on too much of that. But I do just, I think that the whole academic community should welcome the inquiry and the discovery. I mean, it's just really...
I was going to say, so we don't want to go directly to the observatory, and we feel like perhaps going directly to the king on this might be a bit direct. The other option is, because they have, been bringing things up from the tinkerings, we could go more to the source of where these things are made and investigate there, which would be up in Professor Z's sort of hometown region anyway, and we could potentially get more information there than just sort of batting around theories.
Just to clarify, I'm not in opposition to investigating the observatory. I am in opposition to knocking on anybody's front door. I'm cool with us going to investigate because that's more information. And we discovered last night that there's probably not going to be anybody there, so we might be able to dig a little further.
Yeah, so I think instead of continuing to kind of theorize, maybe let's get more information and then we can come back to this.
Yeah.
Ember will finish his bread and will look back at the stairs and go, let's go deal with the bad clankers.
Yeah, let's do it.
Alrighty. I'm all in.
Okay.
Let's leave it there before break. Hi there, Esther here with an exciting announcement. Chromythica is sponsoring a dice giveaway. If you follow us on Twitter, you may already be aware of this. But if you're learning about it on YouTube for the first time, we are giving away a set of green astrology-style dice from You Are Wizards. To enter this giveaway with 5 chances to win, visit our website at chromythica.com and fill out the form you'll find under the Dice Giveaway tab in the menu bar. The code you'll need in order to enter is Chromythica Dice E5. That's Chromythica Dice, all one word, lowercase, capital E, number 5. The giveaway entry period runs through Monday, October 11th, 2021. You may enter this code only once on our website, but if you want more chances to win, be sure to come back for a new code from episode 6 on October 5th, 2021. If you're learning about this giveaway from YouTube, you can also get more chances to win by heading over to our Twitter and entering using the rules there. Thanks so much! Now, back to the episode. So friends, I think the plan is that you're going to go check out the observatory. Okay. Well, you will be able to finish your breakfast, in Miv's case, second breakfast, at Celestine Bakery, and then, as you will, make your way back towards the Asphodel foothills.
Ember's going to be leading the charge. Ember has a mission.
We've come to the conclusion that there's only the one way that's reasonable to approach this. Is that correct?
Certainly one way that's easy, or the easiest way you can determine right now.
Okay. Just to clarify, you said it's kind of like a winding road, is it something?
Yes.
And there are trees amongst it?
I'll take you there now, to a section of it. Okay, can you all see the winding road map? So what I'll ping on the map, like this, indicates like one of the cliffs. So this area is the road, everything green. And
okay.
Like the more brown areas, that indicates like the cliff going up to the next level of the road. Where I'm pinging right now is higher ground than this right here.
Okay, so essentially one could be kind of stealthy depending on what part you were at.
Yeah, definitely. Like, and there's some, you might be able to like go on one level or like kind of like creep up the side of the hill under some brush and then like determine if that stretch of the road is free and go on the road for a little while. Ember will probably have an approximate sense of the place where the bad clankers were the night before, which incidentally might be the map you're looking at right now. But yeah, you can be stealthy particular ways, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Would you like to be stealthy?
I would, yeah. I think that would serve us best.
Do you happen to have feats that let you help other people's stealth at this level, or is that not a thing right now?
I don't believe I do.
Okay.
Let me just check and make sure. Nah.
Are you an expert in stealth?
Let's see. No.
Okay.
I am only trained. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, once you're an expert, we can follow the expert.
Yeah.
But
Ooh.
until that point, we are all rolling individual.
Okay, cool. Love everything about that. That's going to be great. That'll be one of the things that levels ASAP.
Yeah. Ember will sneak his way up.
Everybody would like to be stealthy. Please roll stealth secretly if possible. If not possible, then that's okay. And you can also roll perception secretly. Most of you think that you are making your way pretty stealthily. Ember and Professor Z, you notice the group going along quietly for a while, like as you get to the base of the foothills and start going up the road, and then you begin wandering through some underbrush on the side of the hill and like trying to climb your way up, and both of you realize you are making a little bit of a racket, but you don't hear anything like immediately clanking after you, and then you'll get back to a section of the road that is easier to traverse and be able to make your way more quietly once more.
I am the knight. In the middle of the day.
Is there anything interesting to see, or is it all just green and trees and dirt?
You will see probably some indentations from the wheels of the cart yesterday evening. Nothing terribly interesting. Birds, some squirrels, tiny little lizards maybe occasionally, or like skinks, newts, rustle under the grass. You may like see a little mole tunnel up through some leaves and then stick its snout out and then go back down. But yeah, nothing too out of the ordinary.
Does Ember see these things, and is he distracted by them just out of curiosity, or does he not notice them at
Ember
all?
most definitely notices them with that roll. Whether he's distracted by them is not my call.
Ember is on a mission. Skinks are for later.
Once you begin rounding this particular bend, the suits of armor will come into your view, and I will bring them into your view as soon as I can. There we go. Can you see that?
I can.
Beautiful, okay. And then you'll probably see one more up in the distance here. My apologies that they look like Buster, but there's only so many tokens one has. Okay.
The, like, cliffy bits?
Mm-hmm.
How tall are they? Are they scalable? Could we just avoid these guys?
They rank from you would easily be able to scramble up them, like maybe 2 to 3 feet tall to above your head, like 6 to 8 feet. So this little edge is like more on the you could scramble up it, but like these areas over here are like 6 to 8 feet. Like where Buster is approximately, that's what you could easily scramble up. Like this area over here, it'll essentially place you like within what you assume would be their field of vision. These, as you get more over in this region, and then up over here, these are all going to be taller, like the 6 to 8 feet cliffs that you will need to like climb to get up.
Okay.
Some of us have problems climbing. because we don't have hands.
Can't you
And,
leap,
like-
my bros?
I can't leap 6 feet in the air. Can you leap 6 feet in the air?
No, but I'm not a fucking dog.
I believe I can leap 3 feet in the air.
Okay. All right. So we would be able to potentially get all of us, but not you. How's...
Buster might also have problems.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Buster. Oh, fucking Buster's going to be clanging.
Should have had Buster roll stealth, but I don't know.
I'm going to leave Buster at home.
Nope, we did not leave Buster at home. Ember is continuing on his mission unless he knows someone with more tact stops him.
Well, I guess we don't...
Ember's fighting, I'm fighting.
He's just walking at this point.
Okay, a further question. Am I familiar with these kind of constructs? Like, would I know if they're the kind of thing that is only, like, looking forward, or if they, like, what they respond to, noise or movement? But what kind of information is available to me about these constructs? I want to know if I can go sneak up behind them.
Well, roll crafting secretly.
Secretly crafting. That doesn't appear to be in my secret list.
What's your modifier for crafting? And I'm happy to roll it for you, if that's okay with you.
That's fine by me. My modifier is... Wait, it's 2 or it's 6?
Are you
The one in
trained
the
in
circle.
crafting?
The one in the circle is 6.
Okay. Okay, and your question was, one more time.
My question is, what do I understand about these kind of constructs? For instance, what do they respond to? What's their field of vision? Are they on a swivel? What kind of information might I have either already know about constructs or have gathered about the constructs from last time, and or by peeking around the corner can see about the constructs?
What you would know about this type of construct specifically is it seems to be the sort of kind of animated suit of armor that is typically used to guard things, or as like a martial art or a martial training partner. And these are often found in like wizards' towers or potentially clockwork spaces, or in places that your mom would frequent, particularly the archaeological ruins. She has run into many in her time, and if you've been with her, you've probably met a few there yourself. You would know that they're not the most perceptive of creatures, but not the least either. It's a little bit of a chance to try to sneak by them. It's not a guarantee that you'll be able to do it, but you could try.
Have they responded at all as we have approached them?
Not yet.
You have approached them?
Mm.
Okay, well, I guess our question is, where's everybody?
Ember is sniffing one right now.
Okay,
It does not seem to respond to Ember.
that's unsurprising. I would like to speak to the people, the non-dog people of our crew who are still around the corner, it looks like, with me, and tell them that it is unsurprising that they would be unalarmed by a dog. And it's maybe even possible, that Buster might be able to walk past them. But that potentially maybe the rest of us should consider using the cliff, since they seem to be facing this way. And if we can maybe go back and do some like cheerleader tosses, and I can hopefully climb. Like, maybe that would be a better idea, because this is going to be a fight if they see us. I will stress, this will be a fight if they see us.
Ember will attempt to scooch around, scooch.
They don't seem to be taking any particularly special notice of a dog. They're not moving.
Okay.
They smell
I think the
metal.
bad clankers are broken. Ember will ignore them.
I have a question. How far does... I just got lost in Animorphs, and I was going to call it mind speed. How far does Ember's mind speak go? Like, how far can we hear you?
It's sound. It's not like he's not telepathic. He just doesn't need to move his mouth to speak.
Okay.
When Ember speaks, the construct next to him begins to come to life.
Fuck! Well, there's
It
that
looks
question.
down at him, and it sort of like moves a hand. It doesn't do anything, but it's definitely aware. Like it's moving now.
I took from your plan, Temerity, that we should just send Buster straight on through.
I think that at your discretion, that might be a safer way, but I admit that I'm not sure I understand the nature of your relationship with Buster, so I understand if maybe you're wary of his damage or...
No. If Buster blows up, we'll repair him. That's part of Buster's cycle, and we get some creativity. Buster, why don't you go for it?
Just like Janet, every time he's just better, right?
More
The
powerful.
most
Yeah.
advanced Buster.
And with the constructs, we got potential spare parts too.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so describe to me what you're gonna have Buster do.
I'm just going to tell Buster to, like, basically follow Ember. And so Buster's just going to go clanking along, not keeping up with Ember, because Buster I don't think is as fast as Ember, but, like, following Ember.
When Buster reaches the constructs, and I'm guessing like begins to start going past them, they come to life completely and like go into a very defensive stance and seem to wait for about 30 seconds. So, anything you'd like to do in those 30 seconds?
I think Buster woke them up.
Peeking around the corner. Oh, you're talking again. I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can. I guess while this is happening, I'm gonna see if I can go up and around. I'm gonna see if I can scale the 6-foot-ish place. Were we able to, in our sneaking and peeking, see the third one, the bronze or whatever one that's back there?
I'm gonna say Ember could have told you that there was one because he did sense all three the night before. And Miv probably could have told you of that too.
In these 30 seconds?
Mm-hmm.
So I see that they basically are threatening Buster, right?
Yeah.
I'm not cool with that.
Okay.
Ember's gonna go here.
Okay, great. So, Temerity, I'm gonna need a climb check from you. And are you trying to do this without them noticing you?
Yes.
Okay,
So my question is, where along here do you want me to attempt? Like, where looks good? Where, like, ideally a little more there, but I don't know.
you tell me. It's about the same height. It looks like it's gonna be about the same level of difficulty to climb up. So you pick a spot and we'll see how you do.
Okay, I'm gonna go, like, around probably there.
Okay. From Temerity, I'm gonna need a climb check, and that does not have to be secret, and a stealth check, which you can roll it either way, as you please. From everybody else, I will need initiative.
What's a climb check?
Athletics.
Athletics. Sorry. I said that like climb is a skill, it is athletics.
Not acrobatics? I can't try to parkour my way up here?
Oh, right.
Do you have any like climbing tools in your arsenal? Like something you throw up on top?
No, I do not have any such things.
Okay.
Thank you for entertaining my bullshit. I will roll athletics, which I have a 0.
You were teasing me for not being able to scale a 6-foot cliff.
I thought I could use acrobatics. Parkour. So, Esther, does a 4 not cut it, or that's pretty good, right?
A 4 does not cut it. We'll get back there.
Well, I guess I'm gonna have to fucking go hand to hand with a construct and my goddamn dagger.
Okay, so it looks like it's going to be Miv, Temerity, the armor, Ember, and the armor have the same, so I'm going to have Ember go before the armor. Then Professor Z, we will put you after the animated armor, Professor Z, the other animated armor, and you are the caboose of the initiative.
It's weird because my roll was
Wait, was
14.
it? Okay, I don't know why it didn't. Okay, never mind. You're not the caboose. You are after Professor Z, and I'm going to change this. I think everybody should be in there correctly. Can you all see it? Does it look right?
Looks right to me.
All right. Cool. So, Temerity, as everybody starts readying themselves for a fight, you begin to try to scale this cliff. It doesn't go so hot. You know, it's kind of like a Princess Anna from Frozen moment where you are giving it your all, like just climbing this thing, and you realize like a good 15 seconds in, you're about 2 inches off the ground, and then you kind of just do this like slow fall back. Maybe just a little bit winded, but not terribly. It didn't seem to go so well. You could always try again.
Do I have to use a hero point to try again?
You do, yeah. Or you can wait till your first round in combat and try it again.
I'm gonna see what happens.
Okay, cool. Miv, being a person of the world, having probably gotten themselves into more than one situation like this, is just gonna nod and bring out the dulcimer and start playing. And as a free action, they are going to use lingering composition before they inspire courage. And I must do a roll for them. Oh, yes. Okay, beautiful. And they're going to inspire courage, which gives you all a +1 bonus on attack rolls, damage rolls, and saves against fear effects. And that will last for 4 rounds. So.
Sweet.
Yeah. Then they are gonna, I think, take out their crossbow. That's their turn. They are ready to go. Temerity, you're next.
It's my turn, so I'm gonna try again.
All right.
And if it fails this time, then I guess I'm fighting metal with a fucking knife. Nope!
You are, like, impassioned.
I'm not very strong, dude.
It's like this, oh, no, I'm gonna get it this time. And you just, like, give this cliff your all, and you feel like you get maybe, like, 2 feet off the ground, and then it's just, you slide back down.
There's simply no handholds. There's nothing for me to do here. I'm just going to have to go about my life, give it my all. And luckily, everybody else is probably focused elsewhere and maybe hasn't seen all of this. If I'm lucky.
And you have 2 more actions left.
Oh, okay. In that case, I will get closer to my peeps. What's I think my speed is 30?
30 feet, yeah.
Okay, and I can do that once or twice?
You can move twice.
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and I guess move to about, like, where Prof Z is. Close, but I have not yet approached. Wait, let me go a little further so that I can see what's happening. I can go, like, 1 more, I think.
Just as a reminder for everyone, so the action economy means that if you want to spend all 3 of your actions moving your movement speed, that's totally a thing you can do. Ember, it is your turn.
Yes. Well, first off, I would like to rage. So I'll do that. So I'll be raging and inspired. Does the construct have a weapon of any kind?
Yes, it does.
Okay, this is a bad idea, but I'm going to do it anyway. I would like to attempt to wrench the weapon from this person's grasp.
Okay.
And I would like to, if that's all right, spend a hero point on this.
Okay, yes.
Okay. So I'm going to just roll it here. That would be athletics. That's a 16 or a natural 1. So 16. I'll take that 16.
16 it is. Okay. And that includes your modifiers and everything.
Yeah, that would be against a reflex DC.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Against the odds, you succeed in wrenching this glaive from this animated armor's hand.
So I need a critical success to actually get the glaive off.
Oh, you hamper
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Okay. It was worth a shot. You know what? Can I just do that again?
Yeah.
To actually attempt to get the thing out of its grasp?
Yeah.
I know I need a crit success, so I will use another hero point on this. It's a lot of hero points. That's better. Okay, 20. I assume that's insufficient.
It is, unfortunately.
That's it for that. That's my turn.
Okay, well, this animated armor is going to notice what you are doing to its buddy, move 2 strides closer to you, and then try to hit ya. Let's see what happens. I'm guessing an 11 does not hit you.
Nope. Armor class is 15.
Okay, it's going to just try to attack you again, and that will hit, despite it being its second attack, but just barely, and it's gonna do 10 damage.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'll knock off my temporary HP. I still have the most HP in the party.
You do. So next, this clockwork construct that's been kind of lingering at the point of a particular cliff that's been rounded out and carved around by the road begins to come to life and really actually move out into the fray. It's gonna take a few steps, and something in its chest begins to glow a little bit, and I'm gonna say its eyes begin to light up, and it starts making a soft whirring noise internally, and it is actually going to, first of all, stride forward one more time, fortunately next to Ember, and try to hit you. We'll see how that goes. It missed you. It was very close. It brings down its fist right next to you and just whizzes right by your fur.
Ember snarls and snaps.
Okay, Professor Z.
I think Professor Z needs to use at least one action to be able to see, because I don't imagine that Professor Z, who is not very tall, can see over even the shorter cliff.
Yeah, I think your vision is limited as to what's going on up there.
Okay, so I'm going to use one action to go around Temerity to the point where I can see. I think I can move more than that, though. So maybe I'll move up here.
What's your move speed?
That's a great question. 25 feet.
Okay, yeah.
I've moved so I can see. With another action, I think I'm going to command Buster to help Ember, protect Ember, something like that.
Okay.
So Buster, who has 2 actions, I think is going to move with one and then attack with the other.
Perfect.
Move to the one that is attacking Ember from behind and attack. So I can roll unarmed strike then.
Yeah, whichever of Buster's attacks you want to roll.
What's the difference between unarmed strike and unarmed attack?
I think one of them is slightly better and does a little bit more damage. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Would you like to hero point that? Because that is not going to hit.
Yes.
Okay.
Sure, we can hero point that.
I really want it, but not
That's okay.
quite. Okay, not quite.
Does Buster receive the bonus from Inspire Courage?
I'm giving Buster the bonus from Inspire Courage, yes.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
We might just have to blow up Buster, but I'm a little bit wary of doing that to Ember right now, but I could just tell Buster to explode. That is one of my abilities.
I got lots of HP.
Okay, so you rolled a hero point for Buster's first action. So he still has one more.
So he could, yeah. I mean, he'll probably keep trying to attack, right? So
yeah, that's fair.
Let's just do the other attack.
Oh, well, That will hit. It's gonna like stagger backwards a little bit and look shocked. Yeah, he like manages to dent it in the chest. Go Buster. All right.
Party strategic question. Do I just blow up Buster at this point, or do I start firing crossbow bolts? I think I basically have a button, right? Yeah. The equivalent of a remote detonator button, and I can just blow up Buster.
I think it would be good. I mean, you'll hit 2 enemies, and I have a decent reflex save. There's a chance that Buster will survive the explosion, right? And still fight.
Yeah, in fact, reading the text about it, I'm not sure what I even have. I guess maybe Buster has to also roll a reflex save, but it's not really clear from the text. Oh, but it's a 2 action? Okay, whatever. I guess I can't do that this turn then. I gotta wait till next turn. All right.
You can also load your crossbow this turn, but you can't fire it till next turn.
Oh, well, let's just load my crossbow then. That's fine. Moving on.
All right. You're up.
So I'll walk till there. I believe I'm in range to electric arc one of them. So I will do that.
And I have to roll them a reflex save? Wow, they did really well. They stumbled backwards and seem a little shocked, but like it hasn't done too much to them, unfortunately. Really good idea to use electric arc, though. I love it. However, that's really good news for you. So they will take half damage and a little bit more because they have an electricity weakness. So you notice it doesn't seem to do its full damage, but this thing seems a little surprised and poor Ember. And it like stumbles back, and then the electricity continues to fry whatever clockwork circuitry is going on in there. Awesome. And that's a 2 action cantrip, so you have 1 action left. Or you moved. Yeah, that's right. Fabulous. Okay.
Ember yips in fear.
Oh no. I was gonna ask.
Yeah. He was not the target, but he was still frightened 1. You've activated my ability, Afraid of Lightning.
Oh, no.
Is it like a noticeable yip?
He like practically jumps and like whines back. Frightened 1, Afraid of Thunder.
All right. It is the armor that just got electrified's turn now, and it sort of turns its countenance upon you and is going to move towards you and Professor Z with one of its actions.
Because I attempted to disarm it, it does take a -2 penalty to attacks made with the weapon I attempted to disarm this round.
Oh, beautiful. All right.
Mm-hmm. Does electric arc make a thunder noise?
It probably looks like lightning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is your AC?
16.
Okay. It brings its glaive down near you and goes wide. You are not affected, and then it's going to turn to Professor Z and try to do the same thing. And Professor Z, what's your AC?
What is my AC? 15.
And also fail, thanks to Ember.
Aha!
Well done. And that is its turn. And now we are back at Miv, who has their crossbow loaded and ready to go, and is just gonna turn on this one. Boom. We shall see what happens. It does not hit, alas. But Miv will move to kind of be in the fray and will then spend another action kind of like moving through you all to be on the other side of this construct, and that will be their turn. Temerity.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and, come around everybody and go ahead and try to hit this dude. Is there any sort of like flanking bonus that one gets with all of the other people around? Great, good to know.
You don't, though.
Oh, great. Anyway, I'm just gonna dagger. Does a 26 hit?
It's a 27 because of Miv's bonus, and in fact, that is a critical hit. It staggers back. You have definitely, this thing has seen better days. And actually, it seems like It's taken enough damage at this point. It's starting to fry a little bit on the inside, and its armor seems to be like coming apart slightly. Like you were really giving this animated armor what for, and it doesn't look like it's going to hold up that much longer.
Oh, I can hit it again, can't I?
You can. Now you'll take a -5 penalty because it's your second attack. But yes, you can hit it again. Okay.
Oh, wait, that's an unarmed attack.
That will not hit, unfortunately. Ember.
Ember, afraid of lightning. Any effect with the lightning trait that occurs within view or earshot of Ember also gives him the Frightened 1 condition for the next minute. Ember is going to go ahead and step to try to get away from the scary sound, but is then going to attack this thing. Wolf Jaws. Nope. I will use my last hero point to re-roll that. That's much better.
Oh, nice. All right. That definitely hits.
It is a flat 20 because
It
the
is a
Frightened
flat
and
20.
the Inspire Courage
Right,
cancel
cancel
out.
each other out. You deal 12 damage. Let me make
Yes.
sure really quickly that it's... Okay, cool. It doesn't look quite like your jaws impact it as much as they normally would, but you definitely deal some amount of damage to this thing.
Okay, regardless. I am going to just make another Jaws attack.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay, that is your turn.
That should be 13 damage because of Inspire Courage.
Right. Still doesn't look like it does as much damage as normal, but
I will take some damage.
you get some damage. Now it is going to be the animated armor's turn. This one, which is right in front of Buster, and so that is who it is gonna go for. Oh! What's Buster's AC?
17.
You okay? And how many hit points does Buster have?
26.
Okay. It did very well on that roll.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Buster is going to take 20 points of damage. Did the absolute best it could have. And wow, we shall see what happens next. Okay, that one goes totally wide. And for its third attack, because Buster's right in front of it, we'll just keep attacking. That one also, fortunately for Buster, goes wide. All right, and now it is this thing that Ember is fighting's turn. It's just gonna, first of all, try to smack you with its fist again. Does a 21 hit?
Yeah?
Okay, I thought so. Fortunately for you, it's not that strong, and it rolled a natural 1 for a total of 4 damage.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's an eighth of my health.
And with its next 2 actions, it is going to try to cast a spell at you.
Dang it, I don't have attack of opportunity. Drat.
I will need a will save from you.
Oh, but I'm so good at those.
I
That's an 8.
Oh, poor Ember. All right. Ember, you feel your mind, like, this lightning was so distressing.
It really was.
Yeah. You're gonna take a little damage from this. I wish that this were more clear with me about what that is. You know what? I'm just going to roll that for another 4 damage, and you're stunned 1.
Oh, that's not
it's
fun.
not a great fight for Ember. That is its entire turn, and Professor Z, you're next.
I have 4 conditions right now.
I'm sorry.
Professor Z is going to tell Buster to scooch, and by scooch, Buster will interpret that as going there. And then Professor Z is going to use the remaining 2 actions to explode. Buster,
Okay.
I think you will need to make a reflex save. Sorry.
No, that wasn't bad. 17.
And I might need to roll to see how much damage.
I-
So my class DC is 18.
Okay.
Oh.
Fortunately for you, both of the constructs failed that, and so they will take
So did Ember.
2d6 fire damage. Oh, so I will let you roll that, Alex.
All right, let's see. What do we got here? We got 4 plus 3, 7.
All right.
Poor Ember.
Sorry, Ember.
No worries. I was okay until that.
You were definitely making a dent in these things. Professor Z, that was your whole turn, right?
Yeah, although I think Buster can keep attacking. I don't know if that's something that Buster would naturally do, but Buster, I think, has one more action.
Okay, you spent an action to command Buster to move. You spent
Two to blow Buster up. Buster used one action to move, so presumably if Buster still recalls the previous command, which was like help Ember, Buster will attack. Right?
Okay. Go
Does
for it.
Does that make sense?
Yes, let's do it. I'm totally fine with that. Okay. All right. That's very lucky for Ember. He hits and does 8 damage. Nice. This thing is looking not great. Like it's staggering. It's all dented. Part of the armor is like there's a little hole that's widening. It's still glowing from its chest, and there's like something like a little crystal, like it's embedded in this construct.
It looked like it took full damage from Buster's attack, but not mine.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. Probably resistant to piercing then.
Whereas Buster just bludgeoned.
I don't think Wolf Jaws is. Yeah, Wolf Jaws isn't versatile. I have to do piercing.
I'll magic missile the one I'm next to 3 times.
All right. And which one are you going for? The one like in the middle?
Yeah, the one I'm right next to.
All right, perfect. Okay.
Our magic missile damage is always on point.
I know.
Just gotta trust it all.
Actually, you see these things impact this thing's chest, and it keeps like staggering, and it'll shake for a moment and then just totally shut down and kind of like mechanically crumple to the ground. Looks like you've taken it out. That was going to be its turn, and it's no longer going to go. We'll remove it from the turn order, and it'll be Miv's turn now, and they are just gonna aim their crossbow at this, load it, and fire. And we shall see what comes of that. Oh! So Miv seems to like cock their head a little bit and just aims this weapon, and this bolt goes straight through its faceplate, and it begins to like short circuit a little bit inside, and it also does a slow crumple to the ground style fade out. And they're gonna say, well, that is one way to do it. Temerity, you are up now.
I'm gonna go ahead and about here, I guess, and try to. Is this the one that? Which one did Miv just hit? The one that's by Ember?
These are both dead now, and so the one that is in between Ember and Miv is the only one that's still up.
Okay, well then I'll use 2 actions, I guess, to get to the other one.
Okay.
And then a further action to attempt to hit it.
I think that's gonna be just enough. So, describe to me what you do to this thing.
Well, I would ideally, I mean, we talked about me having potentially seen things like this before. So my thought is I'm looking for a place to hit it that is important, basically. You know, something that's a weak spot, essentially. And that's what I'm going to go for. Whatever looks most weak and structurally important and weak in combination.
Maybe it's its facial area, like where the eyes are. You would probably intuit that you might not want to attack the chest region that's glowing, and there might be something good there. So I would go for the face.
Can I reach the face? How tall is this thing? Like, if this guy's 9 feet tall, I'm not reaching his face.
It is not 9 feet tall.
Okay, that's what I will go for.
You manage to slash through the hole with your dagger, and it just clanks to the ground as like one shuddery piece of metal. And that's that.
That's a good feeling. They're all down?
They're all down.
Okay, well, I'm going to turn to or look in the direction of Prof Z and ask him, are there any parts you want to scavenge from these?
Oh, yes, most certainly. Many things to grab. I'll have to do a couple of repairs on Buster, I think. It looks like he, took some damage here. And I think, that armor plate would make a really great butt pad for Buster. So I'm just going to, pick that up and get to work hammering that on.
Right here, right now, you're going to do that?
I mean, Buster is down to 6 HP, and that's pretty worrying to me, I think. So, yeah, I think I probably will do something maybe crafting to...
Ember is going to do the kind of head low growling, particularly in the direction of Buster and Oom, and is going to be kind of backing away.
Miv will come up to Ember and say, "Hey, buddy. You look like you might could use some help."
I've got an idea. Searing restoration.
Absolutely not. No. I don't think he needs that. Why don't you see if anybody else needs that, and I'll help him.
Did you say searing restoration?
Yeah, it's where I blow Buster up again, and that heals Ember.
That's a thing?
Yes.
Yeah,
Is it really?
It is really a thing. I'm just not sure psychologically if that's a good idea.
No, it's
for
not
Ember.
going to help.
I would like to, for future reference, if that works on me, I would love for you to blow me up to heal me at some point. You have my blessing.
Miv is going to say, "I might be able to help you a little bit. Would that be all right?"
Ember's not talking.
Okay, Miv is going to cast Soothe on Ember, and that will do some amount of healing at their level. 11 plus 4.
Oh, that's very helpful.
15, yes.
That brings me up almost to max.
And you gain a +2 status bonus to saves against mental effects right now.
Oh, good.
Would calm emotions help Ember?
I mean, I think Soothe is fairly reasonable. I don't think you need to waste the spell slot on something that is just character flavor.
All right. Miv will gently offer head scritches if that's helpful.
Ember is just looking very warily at Oom.
Miv's just gonna start singing a soft, soothing song in gnome and scratch Ember's head. Faye, Temerity.
I just want to know what this arc reactor or whatever in this construct's chest is. I would like to perceive it or whatever, but I'm also going to ask Z if he has any insight.
That will be a secret crafting check from both of you.
Okay.
Which is not an option.
Not an option. It's going to have to be on secret.
Okay, that's fine then.
I am rolling for shit today. My crafting modifier is +6.
So, Professor Z, you are well aware, because you've seen many demonstrations by colleagues in the various Scholarium institutions and the tinkerings, that it's possible to make a guardian construct like this and embed a magic wand in it, and that these magic wands can be removed, and once they are removed, they will usually contain a spell of a certain level that the construct was capable of casting.
Can someone who removes it use the wand?
Professor Z might not know that information at this moment. You may be able to recall it a little later, but it probably won't come into your mind right now.
Oom and I are the casters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can try to figure it out later. I'm going to try to creep up to Ember, though, to see why he's freaking out.
He backs away a little bit.
That's number one concern. What happened?
You make the sky angry.
I'll look towards Temerity to see if there's an explanation.
So I guess the question is, do I have the necessary information? In the time that we traveled together, has there been weather and or would I have noticed these things happen together?
I think Ember will just clarify. You use the same magic that the bad master does.
The bad master?
I'll jump in now if you're looking at me.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm just going to make a series of faces. The guy that took him from.
So just the sky thing is the main... Like, because he didn't freak out from any of the other magic, right?
No. I don't like the bad magic.
I think it's the lightning.
If I stop doing the lightning, will it make it better?
I didn't know you could do the bad magic.
Ember, I think that was an accident and that was trying to help you because it looked like these guys were going to hurt you. So yes, sometimes this magic is used in a very bad way, but I don't think they did this on purpose to hurt you. And I think what they're saying is that if it will make you feel safe, they will be more careful in the future. Does that sound right,
I don't want to do anything that would hurt or scare you. Are you okay, Ember?
He's very not okay, but he will kind of say, like, you are a good gnome, but I don't like it when the sky is angry.
I'm gonna abandon my curiosity / greed and go also to Ember's side. You know, just kind of give him a little "I'm here, Pat. You've known me for a little bit longer." Sort of just try to be a reassuring presence, since he seems so agitated.
He is shaking.
Oh.
I will try to cautiously approach for head scritches.
Ember will let you approach, but yeah, he's just kind of freaked out.
I think we could probably, while Z performs his repairs, maybe just have a little group Ember petting session to get that adrenaline. Do animals have adrenaline? Is it the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, you know, just try to collectively, while Z is doing what Z needs to do, take the...
Ember has a bad history with lightning magic.
Would I know that?
It's up to you as to how much you knew about Vrothrian. I mean, I assume it is now apparent that Vrothrian is some kind of caster, but I don't know like how much knowledge you would have.
All right. Well, I'll think about that.
Miv will keep singing a soft song in Gnome. So, Alex, does the inventor class have any specific feats about patching up one of their inventions? It's been a minute since I read through really closely, so...
I would assume it's just like the normal repair rules, right?
If my innovation's destroyed, I can spend a day with a crafting check to rebuild it. But it hasn't really been destroyed yet, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think you should just roll crafting.
Okay, I will roll crafting.
You spend about several minutes to begin to patch up Buster and, like, plate him up with some of the materials from these constructs that you harvest, and you will restore 5 of his hit points in the end. What's your proficiency in crafting?
4.
Are you trained? Yeah. Okay, so you will restore actually 10 hit points overall, and you'll patch him up.
For 10 minutes you spend on it.
Yeah, so if you want to spend even longer.
Well, I don't know. How long are we going to be here? I'll spend as long as we're here. Like, I can even continue talking to people as I'm... Maybe they can't hear me as well, but as I'm, like, picking parts out and banging them onto Buster.
I think Ember would be perfectly content to allow a little bit of time to calm down. So if you need to spend 20 minutes, by all means.
I mean, if we spend 20 minutes, then Buster's at full health, and I feel that that's a good thing. Buster seems to be pretty helpful in combat so far, other than trying to blow up Ember.
Yeah, and if someone has a healer's kit, if they could try to heal my last 6 HP, that would be good.
I can blow you up.
Please don't.
I mean, I do, but I guess we'll see. Let's see how well it works.
That's a success. 2d8.
Sweet.
Okay, so I can heal other people, just not myself. Cool, got it.
Okay, that's enough to get me up to full.
Great.
Perfect.
Beautiful.
Thank you. That actually means that since I don't have any like per day abilities yet, I'm fully refreshed.
So, all of the enemies here, or the antagonists here, are now incapacitated. You could continue on your way up to the observatory.
Do you want me to bury them?
Do you want to bury them?
Of course I want to bury them.
You're gonna use dig quickly?
Yeah.
How quickly are you gonna dig?
I dig in 1 round.
How much?
Your hands work, blah, blah, blah. You dig a shallow pit. Yeah, a shallow pit, whatever that is.
I'm gonna say it will take you not as long as ordinarily would because you have an ancestry feat for it, but it'll take you a little while to dig a shallow or deep enough pit for each one of these, or just one if you want all 3 of them in it and then get it covered back up. Like,
Too much effort.
okay. I mean, I will say, do you want to leave them where they are?
The cliff right where we are. Oh, you said earlier that that's above us on the other side, right?
Yeah.
There's not really anywhere to like tuck them in or anything.
What about this random spot way over here?
That random spot, you could probably, like, if you have some rope, kind of haul them up to. There's also this spot where the one was standing. There's, like, a little bit of an incline that it might be easier to, like, get the metal over to and then drag it up, and you could hide it in the bushes. It'll take you some effort, but I think it's doable.
Yeah, I'm not sure whose strength modifier we're doing all this shit with, because it sure hell ain't mine.
I assume I have the highest strength modifier in the party, and also no hands.
What's Buster's strength modifier?
Buster's strength is... Buster's modifier is 3, his strength is 16.
Yeah, Buster could probably do this.
Okay.
My strength is 18, but much less useful.
If we use rope, which presumably people have, because that's just in like adventuring kits or whatever, right? You could rig something that could be mouth dragged by
Ember.
It's not in the dog's adventuring kit, but as long as it's someone else's.
Presumably, the non-dogs of us have rope.
Professor Z would almost certainly have some rope. Like,
I think Professor Z does have rope.
We make it look like they just fell off the cliff.
I like that, actually. I think that's the best plan. Let's just have them topple over the one side of the cliff.
I want to see if we can get this wand out before we do this, though.
Ah, yes. This is going to be a thievery check.
Well, I shouldn't get too excited. Let's see. Okay, that's all right. Is 27 okay? Does that help? It's much better than the 4 when I was trying to climb.
A critical success gets you nothing here, but that is almost a critical success, so... Yes, you are easily able to remove this wand. If you want to figure out what spell is in it, that'll probably be like an Arcana check, but you can also do that at another time. But yeah, you're easily able to remove the wand.
I got religion.
Yeah, Temerity, you haven't studied the arcane arts too much.
I am great at stealing.
You are very talented at reclamation. The reclamatory arts.
Thank you. One more question. I'm not able to use a wand because I'm not a caster. Is that the thing?
There's a feat you can take to do it. It's
Yeah.
a trick magic item.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just going to put it in my pocket then, because I could take that feat eventually if I wanted to.
I suppose. We didn't identify it though, right? Of the two casters in the party.
Yeah, it looks like a clockwork wand.
Clockwork wand. That sounds cool.
You're not totally sure what it might hold.
I mean, fuck it. I'll ask the dog.
Well, the dog doesn't have Arcana. I'd have to.
Oh, you don't?
It would have to be something
Yeah.
I could roll religion on. So it's got to be higher than a first level spell then. Okay.
Dee, do you know anything about magic?
I've got some Arcana knowledge. Shall I roll Arcana and see? Let's see what I know. I know shit.
I love this.
so-
We're just gonna keep this wand, and then in like 15 sessions, figure it out.
I'm gonna look at it and say, for all I know, Ember would like to play fetch with that.
I was about to say, can I, with my familiarity with sticks?
Would you like to ask Miv to help you?
Thank you for that kind reminder.
They are your NPC companion of the day.
Miv, if you would be so kind, you seem to have some magical knowledge. Could you tell us what this does?
It so happens they have a good modifier and they rolled extremely well, so yes, they can. They're gonna examine it for a moment and say, well, I reckon it looks like a magic wand, but kind of made of clockwork. I've seen things around like this before. It's like a pretty typical gnomish craftsmanship. Now, if I was to make a guess, I think this has a spell that might put out some kind of like mist, where if you wanted to make it a little hard to feel your way around a place or like a little interaction like we just had with these fellers, it might make it a little difficult for them. Miv will guess that it has the spell Obscuring Mist, which is a second level spell.
I cannot use this wand.
What does it take to use a wand?
You can probably use it. The spell has to appear on your spell list, or you have to be
Yes.
able to trick the item. So, Obscuring Mist is an arcane or primal spell. What's your tradition, David?
I think from Draconic, it's arcane.
So yeah, you could actually use
Yeah.
the wand.
Hey, if you can use it, then I'm totally gonna give it to you.
I mean, I'll hold on to it until you learn how to use it, and you can have it back.
Miv will mention, yeah, it's a pretty good thing to hold on to if you can work it, but if you can't and you want to make a little money off of it, you can often get some for them.
That's very wise.
I have no need of material wealth.
Professor, since you're really good at making things explode, is there a way that we can make these constructs explode so it's less obvious what happened to them?
That's a good idea. I could cause Buster to explode.
I could produce flame, so that
You
we
could
could
produce-
potentially just make some scorch marks without risking, causing Buster to not work today.
Are you suggesting that this explosion would make it look like they malfunctioned and exploded?
I have like
Way more
alchemical crafting, so could I essentially craft a bomb?
I'm like looking in my thieves' tools and my disguise kit to see if there's anything that might be able to aid an explosion.
I
I don't
mean,
think this grease paint gonna cut it, y'all.
I feel like I could, or from the like bits of the construct too. Can I not like make a bomb out of the bits of the construct?
Roll crafting, and we'll see. Yes, it's possible that you could do
Because
this.
like I'm a genius at crafting. I can tamper with things. I have alchemical crafting. That feels like
Is there any way one of us can aid this craft check?
Can I aid it with fire?
You could certainly aid it with another craft check.
well. So I could hero point my crafting to do it with advantage. I don't know if that's worth it right now.
I think it's probably worth it.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna roll with advantage for crafting. Ready?
Yeah. You are able to make a bomb. Absolutely. You scavenger whatever alchemical components you have on hand and like a little vial flask and various bits and bobs of these formerly animated armor and former constructs, and you are able to whip one up. So what are you going to do with it? Describe what you do.
So I think what I'd like to do is have Buster like drag all these things into a pile. I'm going to put the bomb in the pile, like sort of in the middle of it, so that when it goes off, it takes over everything. And then I think I'm going to turn to Ember and go, would you like to do the honors?
I would love to. I would like to set the bomb on fire.
All right.
I will spread my legs. I will wag my tail with my little, like, somatic thing, and then I will bark a mighty bark to shoot the fire. I have to do all the components, right? I need somatic and verbal.
You know, I will give you both a hero point for this display.
Yeah!
It's beautiful. It's perfect. All right. It's a loud explosion, and the metal flies everywhere, and the bits are kind of like raining down, and plunk, 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 and like there's a piece that lands on this little plateau above you, and several that are like going down below, and there's scorch marks on the grass. It totally looks like there was a random explosion, like the three of them ran into each other somehow, and just the wand, something went wrong. Beautifully done.
I'll elbow Temerity and be like, this is the kind of subtlety we were hoping for, right?
So impressed. And we'll say, now, if you're gonna not be subtle, this is the way to do it. Maybe we should run now.
Ember is like, but we have found this is the observatory, is it not? This is the guarded place with the view of the sky.
Is this where you stopped last time, Ember?
Yes, because we found the observatory.
What is an observatory?
It is a place where you look at the sky. This observatory was secret and it was guarded.
Nobody? Okay, I'll take it.
I'm gonna make my misinterpretation in last game canon. Okay?
You're right, Ember. An observatory is where you observe the sky, but I think that what they're guarding is a little bit further down the road. These are just the gates. Go past the gate, and then you see what's on the other side.
Ember is with you.
I love that Temerity has somehow become the fucking dog whisperer.
I mean, you've been with him the longest.
It's true.
You have.
The real sad thing is that poor Ember seems to look at Temerity's dumbass as like a bastion of knowledge, intellect, wisdom.
You are all bastions of knowledge to me.
So I will say, as you begin to make haste up this road, that Miv will pull Professor Z to one side and say, "Hey Z, that was pretty impressive back there. Have you ever thought about taking that on the road, or kind of taking that to a place you could teach people how to do it?"
Blowing stuff up? I mean, you know, it just, I guess I learned it a lot from experience. You know, it's been a bit of a difficult journey getting Buster to the level of reliability he's at right now.
Well, I can see you seem like a true innovator. I mean, it ain't everybody who can just whip something like that up on the spot so professional. I gotta say, I'm taken with your skills. I can't believe you ain't a big wig around here. Are you sure you ain't somebody really important?
I'm a member of the Tinkerings, but, you know, that's my real passion, is to, you know, one day, instead of just blowing things up, invent something that really changes the world.
Well, I think that's amazing. I mean, what a wonderful goal. What kind of thing you want to invent?
I don't know. Maybe something which can help all of gnome kind.
An open mind. I love it. It's like you don't always know the song you want to write, but it'll come to you, and then you think maybe it'll inspire someone, and they'll want to sing it, and then they'll want to write a song or do something else in their life. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, kind of like that.
I'm mighty pleased to have made your acquaintance, Z. It's real nice to know you. They, like, do a bow to you and, like, play a little strings on the dulcimer for a second, like a little rock and roll riff for you. And I will say maybe we'll leave us there as you are all making your way towards the observatory. In our usual style, favorite moments of the day?
I mean, it's got to be that one. I mean, the explosion and everything. I think Z might have, in that moment, shown us that maybe he's not wrong about how great he is, and that it's weird that he's not like more involved in stuff in the city. I think you just gave Temerity another level to the conspiracy theory. The yarn's coming out, babies.
I'm excited that Afraid of Lightning popped up. I've been waiting for that. My poor little baby.
I love that
him
Ember
so.
has more hit points than any of us.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, that's how barbarians work, right? Like, my AC is not great, but, like, I am just a giant bag of hit points.
All right. Well, thank you all so much. It is a joy to play with you as always. And thank you to our listeners, our audience, for being with us in this story. You can follow us on Twitter at Chromythica and watch along for updates on our YouTube channel. Thanks so much, and we will see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Hi y'all, Esther here. Thanks so much for joining us this episode and for being in this story with us. We really appreciate your being here. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel welcome to let us know by leaving us a comment, liking this video, subscribing to our channel, and telling your friends about us. Or any combination of the above. This really does help us a great deal, and we're deeply grateful for your support. You can also follow us on Twitter at Chromythica and visit us on the web at chromythica.com. Chromythica uses trademarks and/or copyrights owned by Paizo Inc., used under Paizo's community use policy, which you can access at paizo.com/communityuse. We are expressly prohibited from charging you to use or access this content. Chromythica is not published, endorsed, or specifically approved by Paizo. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com. Our credits and break music is by Justin Brown. All other music in the episode is by JP Soundworks. For more information about JP Soundworks, go to youtube.com/c/JP Soundworks, all one word. Our character art and logos are by Justin Brown. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until we're together again, remember, tell the stories you most want to encounter in the world.